Good morning, third graders. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. We have a couple of pages we'll be working on today, page 525, 526, 529, and page 530. Let's go ahead and get started with our academic vocabulary work on page 525. Okay, let's go ahead and read the directions. Today we'll be working with context clues. Remember, context clues are words and phrases that help you determine the meaning of unfamiliar words. So sometimes you read a word in a sentence, you're not sure what it means, but the words around it give you clues to help you understand the meaning of that word that you might be a little stuck on. Context clues can be found in the same sentence or in surrounding sentences. So we're going to do some highlighting and underlining. So if you don't have a highlighter ready, pause the video and go get one. If you don't have a highlighter at home, maybe circle instead of highlighting, but go ahead and get ready to do that. And then what we're going to do, the third thing we'll do, is write a brief definition of this vocabulary word based on the clues. And I'm going to help you through this. We'll do this entire part together. So our vocabulary words are analysis, threat, anticipate, and pollution. Let's read our sentence. It says, Dr. Brown thoroughly studied my test results. Then she shared the analysis of what she found with me. Okay, so there's our vocabulary word, analysis. It says that we are supposed to underline that word, so go ahead and underline analysis. So if she shared the analysis, what was she doing? Well, what do you guys think? If you're thinking thoroughly studied, you are correct. So you should highlight thoroughly studied. When you analyze something, you're thoroughly studying it. So analysis is our vocabulary word, underline it, and you should highlight thoroughly studied. Excuse me. So what's the definition? The definition would be the study of something in great detail. You can go ahead and write that down. So an analysis is the study of something in great detail. So you're not just learning a little bit about something, you're really analyzing it, you're studying it, you are learning as many details about it as possible. Okay, let's move on. Our next sentence reads, I'll highlight it for you so you can see where I am. The family heard the warning that there was a threat of a tornado. They were ready for it because they had a safety plan. So our word is threat. Go ahead and underline the word threat. And we're given a clue about what that word means with warning. So highlight warning. Warning is our context clue. And our definition should say something that might cause harm or danger. Okay, so threat is our word. A threat, your definition for it, is something that might cause harm or danger. And warning is a context clue for that word because, geez, if there's some sort of threat, you really hope that there's a warning about it, okay? They wouldn't need to be warned about this tornado if it wasn't a threat to them or something that could put them in danger. When you're ready, let's move on. All right, the next sentence. Before I pack clothes for a vacation, I think ahead and plan. I try to anticipate the weather conditions. Okay, so our vocabulary word is anticipate. Go ahead and underline the word anticipate. And in this sentence, it's talking about something you're going to do before. Okay, so before you even pack clothes for vacation, I think ahead and plan. So when you think ahead of something, you are anticipating it. So go ahead and highlight, I think ahead and plan. So the definition for anticipate would be to expect something to happen before it occurs. You could always just write to expect something to happen. That would be a shorter definition. Or you can write the entire definition, to expect something to happen before it occurs. All right, let's move on. Our last sentence on this page. Sarah was upset when she saw ducks swimming with discarded cans, trash, and other pollution on the beach. So our vocabulary word is pollution. Go ahead and underline it. What do you think pollution means? You guys know what pollution is, but sometimes kids have a hard time giving a definition without giving an example. Those are two very different things. So an example of pollution would be those discarded cans and trash. Go ahead and highlight discarded cans and the word trash. Now that's an example of pollution, but what's the definition? Pollution is something dirty, unsafe, or unsuitable. So you could write dirty, something dirty, unsafe, or unsuitable. Or if you want to keep it short, just write something dirty or unsafe. Okay? All right, you guys, you did a great job following along. Let's go ahead and move on to page 526. Page 526. So we're taking a look at some words with the suffix en. Remember, a suffix goes at the end of the word. When the suffix en is added to a word, the original word is usually read in the same way. An example would be adding en to the word hard. The word part hard is read the same in the word harden. So you're literally saying the word hard, adding that suffix en, harden, okay? Let's take a look at these rules because we will be doing more practice with this on another page as well. So if we have the word hard and quick, you know that we can turn those words to harden and quicken. So when the last two letters are consonants, add en. So for example, let me zoom in a little more so you guys can see. Hard ends with R and D consonants, and quick ends with C and K. So when we have words that end in two consonants, all we have to do with that suffix en is just add en. So we took our word hard, we added en. We took our base word quick, we added en. But when the word ends with the letter E, you drop the E and add en. So for example, the words take and write. It says drop the E and add en. So really, you're just adding the en, but we want to say drop the E and add en because en is that suffix. So take, drop the E, T-A-K, and add your suffix en. Same for write, drop the E, add your suffix en. Okay, now it gets a little trickier. When the word ends with a vowel-consonant combination, double the final consonant and add en. So for example, the word flat ends with a vowel and a consonant, AT. And we turn that word into flatten. Notice how we doubled the consonant T and added en. That works for the word sad as well because it ends with a vowel and a consonant. We double that consonant, that D, and add en. Excuse me. All right, so your job is to read these words with the suffix en, the words golden, widen, waken, sicken, and then write two sentences using a word with the suffix en. So you guys, that's up to you. I'm gonna let you do that work on your own. So you need to write two sentences, one on line 1, one on line 2, using a word from the suffix, from the example with the suffix en. So you need to write a sentence using the word golden, widen, waken, or sicken. Okay, we have high frequency words this week. Our high frequency words are syllables and direction. Let's go ahead and move on to page 529. All right, more practice. Spelling words with the suffix en. We already talked about the rules, so we don't need to review those, but we are going to sort these words and I will help you do that, okay? So we are going to sort these words into words where all we have to do is add en, words where we have to drop the E and add en, and base words where we have to double the final consonant and add en. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. The word awaken, the root word is awake. So that word ends in the letter E. So all we have to do is drop that E and add en. You should write the word awake in this second column. Our next word is given, but the root word is give. It has a final E. You drop that E and add en. That's the same with the word widen. You drop your E and add EN. Our base word was wide. Go ahead and write widen in the same column. Now we get to the word soften. Soft is our root word. We don't have an E at the end of that word. We have two consonants, F and T, so we add EN. So the word soften needs to go in this first column. Add EN. Same with the word sharpen. Sharpen should go in the first column because we have the word sharpen, add EN. Same with the word lengthen. Our root word or base word is length. We add the suffix EN. Here is our word that follows that exception where we double the final consonant and add EN. I can tell you that right away because not only do I see the double consonant in the middle of the word followed by EN, but I know that my base word is the word glad. It ends with a vowel, A, and a consonant, D, so I have to double that consonant, D, D, and add EN. My next word is the word brighten. The root word is bright. So all I'm doing is adding EN. That should go in your first column. I have the word loosen. Loose. All I had to do was drop the E and add EN. That should go in your second column. And then I have my last word, lighten. L-I-G-H-T, light is my root word. I add EN. That should go in my first column. And then the last thing you have to do on this page is to sound out these words, syllables, and direction. These are tricky words to sound out because they're high frequency words, which is why you need to remember them when you look at them and also start learning the spelling of them, okay? Go ahead and write syllables and direction down. I hope that was helpful. When you're ready, move on to the next page. We'll be working on page 530, and this is our last page for the day. On this page, we'll be working with complex sentences, okay? Oftentimes, writers, especially young writers your age, have these simple sentences, and they need to become more complex as we become better at writing. Let's read what a complex sentence is. It says a complex sentence is made up of two clauses or groups of words with a subject and a verb. In a complex sentence, one clause cannot stand alone, a dependent clause. The other clause can stand alone, an independent clause. The dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction such as before, after, when, or until. If the dependent clause starts the sentence, a comma follows it. Okay, this is really confusing, you guys, so let's go ahead and look at some examples so we can get a better understanding of this. So we have this complex sentence on the right-hand side. There you go. It says, before adding the sugar, mix the butter with a mixer. So the dependent clause is before adding the sugar. That's a dependent clause because before adding the sugar is not a complete sentence on its own. So it depends on another part of the sentence to make it complete. Mix the butter with a mixer is an independent clause because mix the butter with a mixer is a complete sentence and it could stand alone on its own. So we have to, if we want to combine them to make a complex sentence, we would have to say before adding the sugar, comma, mix the butter with a mixer. So you can always remember that if that dependent clause starts your sentence, you need a comma after it before your independent clause. For example, after my sister got sick, cannot stand alone. I could say we all went to the doctor. So to combine those two, I could say we all went to the doctor after my sister got sick. And I use the word after to turn that into a complex sentence. And this dependent clause is now at the second part of your sentence. Notice how we have the independent clause first. We all went to the doctor after my sister got sick. So we did not need to include a comma there. All right, the dependent clause says, when it is cold outside, and the independent clause says we wear warm coats. So the complex sentence says, when it is cold outside, comma, because this first part of the sentence can't stand alone, we wear warm coats. All right, our last example. The dependent clause is until my parents get home, that can't stand alone. Independent clause, it can stand alone. I am in charge. So the complex sentence would be, I am in charge until my parents get home. So basically, the rule of thumb is for you to remember, if you are putting the dependent clause first, the part of your sentence that can't stand by itself, you do need a comma after it. If you are putting that dependent clause at the end of your sentence, you do not need a comma after it. Now it says to edit this draft by combining dependent and independent clauses to create complex sentences. Use a subordinating conjunction to join clauses. Okay, so remember, you can use subordinating conjunctions, such as the word before, after, when, or until. And there isn't just one right way to edit this draft. So I'm going to let you guys do this part on your own, but I'll read it with you and give you some ideas. And if you're super stuck, I want you to reach out to me so I can help you. But it doesn't need to be made more complicated than it is. It sounds trickier than it really is. Let's go ahead and read the sentence. Or excuse me, not read the sentence, read the paragraph. Daryl and I made lemonade. We got a pitcher. We poured in the lemon juice. We added the sugar. We poured in cold water. It reached the top. We added crushed ice. We served the lemonade. We had another cup. We still wanted more. Okay, do you see how these are really simple sentences? And we need to combine some of them to make more complex sentences. So for example, Daryl and I made lemonade. I could probably leave that as is. We got a pitcher. I could also probably leave that as is. But I could say we poured in the lemon juice before we added the sugar. So what I could do if I wanted to use that subordinating conjunction from our examples up here, you can use before, after, when, or until. I could go ahead and say we poured in the lemon juice, comma, cross out this W to make it lowercase and say before we added the sugar, okay? Go ahead and try to edit this to make it sound a little bit more advanced. Basically what you're trying to do is combine some of these sentences using those subordinating conjunctions, okay? All right, reach out to me, you guys, if you need any help. Another way to reach out to me, let's say you're unsure about your work on page 530, see if someone could take a picture of this paragraph after you've edited it and send it to my email, and I can double check it for you or give you some suggestions, okay? Thanks for watching the video. Reach out to me if you guys need any help. I miss you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.